Picture this, because I'm almost certain it's played out in your life recently. It's late afternoon on a Friday, somewhere around 5:30. The work week is officially over, at least on paper. You've pushed through emails, meetings, and deadlines for more than 40 hours. Your body has made it to the car or onto the train, but your mind didn't come with you. It's overheated, empty, done. As you head home, the thought of chopping vegetables, cooking a proper meal, and cleaning up afterward feels absurd. Like signing up for an extreme endurance challenge when you can barely stand. So, you reach for your phone. A delivery app opens almost automatically. Thai, pizza, burgers, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it arrives without effort. $45 later, including fees and tips, dinner is handled. When you finally walk through the door, you pour a beer or a heavy glass of wine, something to dull the edges. You collapse onto the couch and scroll until you land on a show you don't even enjoy that much, but it's familiar enough to silence your thoughts. You tell yourself the same line you always do. I deserved this. I earned it. But here's the uncomfortable question. What if that night didn't really cost you $45? What if the food, the fuel you burned getting home, the clothes you wore to look presentable, and the exhaustion that pushed you toward convenience in the first place were all part of the same bill? What if those things acted like quiet deductions, slicing your pay down far more than you realize? You might think you're trading your time for $30 an hour, but when you zoom out and do a cold, honest audit of your life, the math starts telling a very different story. One where the number that matters isn't what's on your offer letter, but what actually remains after everything the job takes from you. I'm Alex. I spend an unreasonable amount of time thinking about the hidden math that runs our lives. The equations no one shows us, the ones that keep us running just fast enough to stay in place. If you've ever looked at your paycheck and wondered how it disappeared so quickly, or if it feels like you're working harder than ever in 2025 while your savings stubbornly refuse to grow, you're in the right place. Because today isn't about investing tips or side hustles. It's about an accounting illusion. Not one pulled off by a corporation, but one most of us commit against ourselves every time we accept a job based on the gross salary alone. We're going to calculate something most people never do, your real hourly pay. And once you see that number, prices stop looking like numbers on a tag. They start looking like pieces of your life. Here's the story we've all been told since the moment we stepped out of school. Your worth is measured by your annual income. Make $65,000 a year, and you're doing fine. That breaks down to a little over $30 an hour. Respectable, stable, supposedly enough to live on. But in the business world, anyone who looks only at revenue and ignores expenses is heading straight for collapse. A shop can sell $1 million worth of product and still be worthless if it costs $1 million to keep the lights on. When it comes to our own labor, though, we make that exact mistake. We fixate on the income and ignore the costs. And the thing being sold isn't a product, it's your time, your energy, your attention. The overhead required to sell yourself is enormous. So let's get specific. Imagine an average worker. We'll call her Laura. On paper, Laura earns that same $31 an hour. Before she sees a cent, taxes take their share. Federal, state, payroll deductions, it all adds up fast. That hourly rate quietly shrinks into the mid-20s. That part isn't shocking. What comes next usually is. Now we subtract the expenses that exist only because Laura has this job. Start with getting there. Whether it's gas, insurance, maintenance, or a transit pass, commuting costs real money. If she spends half an hour each way, that car or that train ticket exists largely for work. Be conservative and call it $4,000 a year. Then there's presentation. She can't show up in sweatpants. She needs clothes that fit the role, shoes that look right, dry cleaning now and then. That's not a lifestyle choice, it's a requirement. Then comes the convenience tax. Because Laura is away from home all day, she buys lunch when there's no time to prepare it. She grabs overpriced coffee to survive afternoon meetings. She pays for services, pet care, deliveries, shortcuts, because time and energy are gone. None of those costs would exist without the job. She's spending money just to remain functional at work. And then there's the quietest and most overlooked category, recovery spending. The money used to dull the stress. Drinks on Friday, impulse trips booked out of desperation, shopping to feel better, therapy bills. These aren't luxuries, they're attempts to repair the wear and tear the job inflicts. Add everything together: taxes, transport, clothing, convenience, coping, and Laura isn't really living on $65,000 a year. What's left might be closer to 35. But money is only half the equation. Pay is money divided by time, and we're just as dishonest about time as we are about income. Officially, Laura works 40 hours a week. In reality, her alarm goes off early so she can get ready. That prep time belongs to the job. The commute is unpaid labor. Lunch happens near the office, not where she wants to be. Even after she gets home, the job lingers. She needs time to mentally unwind, to complain, to scroll, to stare at nothing until she feels human again. That's all time the job quietly consumes. Add it up, and she's not giving 40 hours a week, she's giving 55 or 60. Spread over a year, that's close to 3,000 hours. Now divide that reduced take-home pay by the real time invested. That $31 an hour collapses. Suddenly, the number looks more like 10 or 8 or even less in high-stress, high-cost cities. Less sometimes than a teenager earns at a local fast food place. Someone who walks to work, wears a uniform, and clocks out without taking the stress home. That's the work scam. A high-turnover, low-margin setup where you are both the product and the one absorbing the loss. And yes, that realization can feel bleak. You might be thinking, great, I'm underpaid and exhausted. But the point of this isn't despair, it's clarity. And clarity leads to leverage. Once you know your real hourly rate, your relationship with money changes. This idea was popularized years ago in the book Your Money or Your Life, and it's still one of the most powerful mental tools around. If your true wage is $10 an hour and you see something priced at $100, that item isn't $100, it's 10 hours of your life. 10 hours of traffic, meetings, and mental drain. When you frame it that way, most purchases lose their appeal instantly. This lens also exposes the trap of golden handcuffs. Promotions often come with higher pay and much higher costs. More hours, more stress, more spending to cope. Takeout replaces cooking. Better clothes become mandatory. Vacations get pricier because recovery takes more effort. On paper, you're earning more. In reality, your hourly return shrinks. More money flows through your account, but less stays with you, and more of your life disappears in the process. There's another cost hiding here too: the future you're sacrificing. Money spent to survive work is money that never gets the chance to grow. $5 a day on coffee, invested over decades, can turn into hundreds of thousands. That's not just caffeine, that's time freedom you never get back. The system depends on you being too tired to run these numbers. Exhaustion keeps you focused on surviving the week instead of questioning the structure. As long as you believe you make good money, you'll keep signing up for bigger expenses that lock you into needing the job even more. So, what do? The answer isn't quitting tomorrow and disappearing into the woods, it's optimization. Your new metric isn't salary, it's efficiency. Can you reduce commuting? Work from home a couple of days a week. Cook ahead once and cut convenience costs. Care less about appearances. Every dollar you don't spend to support your job is a dollar that buys freedom. The biggest shift, though, is mental. Start treating your labor like a business. Smart businesses don't chase revenue alone, they protect their margins. Your margin is the time and money left over to actually live. Someone earning $100,000 while burning 95,080 hours a week is failing. Someone earning half that, spending far less and working fewer hours is winning. This weekend, sit down when you're rested. Run the numbers, be honest. Calculate your real hourly rate and write it down. Put it where you'll see it. The next time you're about to buy something pointless, ask yourself how many hours of your life it costs. That pause is more powerful than any budgeting app. Time is becoming the ultimate currency. Some people buy it, others sell it cheaply. Don't be the one selling yours at a discount. Audit your life. Cut the costs that drain you. Build a gap between what you earn and what you spend, because that gap is where freedom lives. If this made you rethink your paycheck, share it with someone who looks as tired as you feel. We're all caught in the same equation, but we can solve it together.